Welcome back to Inside South Florida. Since the start of the pandemic, the way people work has changed drastically, of course, and whether employers are ready to welcome back everyone in full force or on what they're calling a hybrid schedule, things are going to look very different. And here to discuss what those changes are and what to expect is career bestie, Jennifer Brick. Welcome to Inside South Florida.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really great to have you. I discovered you on YouTube, just going down the rabbit hole of navigating workplace dynamics. And you have some of the most straightforward, but really relatable advice for coming back to the workplace after we have been in our COVID caves for 2 years. How should we mentally prepare to reemerge and return to the workplace?
Yeah, it's really weird stepping out of this digital world that we've been existing in back into the 3D world, right? And I think especially a lot of the people that I speak to and that I've worked with in the past year or so, especially dealing with a lot of the office politics, workplace toxicity, it's so much easier when it's behind a computer screen, because I think it's a lot easier to hold the boundaries. You can just close down Slack, you close down your computer at the end of the day. But when you're back in the office, you're back in the lunchroom, back at the water cooler, and things are a little bit spicier in real life. So I think the transition is something that a lot of people are kind of mentally preparing for, in terms of not just are we going back to kind of the old normal as we saw it, but also probably wanting to not necessarily go back into the old normal. We want a better version of normal when we reemerge from this quarantine that we've been existing in, right?
What has changed, Jennifer, when it comes to workplace dynamics and how workplaces are? I know that there's hybrid scheduling and things of that nature.
Yes. So we are seeing some companies have gone on the record, they're just staying remote, staying where they are, extending it, whatever they're doing. A lot of organizations, though, are very eager to get teams back into the office, if not 5 days a week. I see a lot of people going into hybrid solutions, especially as we start transitioning back. I think it makes it a little bit easier to get people back into the office and to have a reset. Now, I think with that as well, a lot of the worker expectations, if you think about how you worked 2 years ago, it's probably not the same as you've worked now. So I think this is something that companies need to keep in mind, but also we need to keep in mind as we are actually going back into the office, because there are things that we have been able to enjoy and somewhat take for granted. More casual work attire is something that has become much more normal.
Sure. Yes.
Right. And I also think the way that I say it, it's not the most elegant way of saying it, but I also think that in a lot of ways that people's BS tolerance has gone down to about zero. So a lot of the drama, a lot of the BS, and I think a lot of the performative things that we used to do when we went into the office are really going to become things that we stop doing more and more as we come back. I'm sure that's not going to be true in all cases, but from what I am hearing out in the marketplace, that is a trend that I am starting to see.
What is one tip you could give them to put them at ease?
Yeah, I think the best thing that someone can do as they're preparing for the return into the office is to get really clear over what they want that to look like for them. Because like we've talked about boundaries, what do you want your day to be structured like? The other thing that I really want to add, and I think is also really important, is that people have a lot of feelings going back into the office. Some people don't really want to go back into the office. They want to stay at home. Some people have been waiting for this moment for the past 2 years. Some people have anxiety. They're nervous about it because we're in a rapidly changing environment. And I think going back and having a lot of empathy for the people around you is also something that's going to be really important and is going to really help people that keep that centered be successful in kind of re-emerging into the IRL workplace.
Love it. Grace and empathy are two things that we could all use and also give. Career bestie, Jennifer Brick, I hit the jackpot connecting with you. Where can others connect with you on social?
So the main place to find me is over on YouTube. If you put Jennifer Brick into the search bar, I'm going to come right up there. I'm also on Instagram at @CC Jennifer Brick. And over on TikTok, you can just find me at Jennifer Brick.